Hello and welcome to Moster Does the Crossword. This is the latest iteration in which, hopefully, my inability to end a sentence at the same volume that I started it will be the biggest audio problem. In other words, I have a fucking headset instead of using the phone microphone and then resting the phone on my finger and then moving my finger around and causing a whole bunch of fucking static that I didn't really notice was there because, I basically rushed to post and that's pretty much it. And I don't really listen to them because I just did them. So I have to think about other ways to approach that crap. But anyway, this is the review. This is the one you see the gold star. That means it's after I've finished the puzzle. This is the one where I do the highlights, what I thought about the puzzle, how I thought about my performance on the puzzle, and then a few things, watch points, things that you should look out for, things that I thought were interesting, etc. If you want to listen to me drone through the entire puzzle, that would be the talk through video, which will start with a black square instead of a gold one. So, without further ado, I will. Is that ado to say thank you one more time? That's an interesting. Anyway, this is running very long for an intro. Thank you for coming along, and here we go. Yeah, this one, I bet noir like this. This is what killed me. I don't know. I don't know. I knew it, but I didn't know it. But I knew it, but I didn't know it. And I certainly the clue didn't help me at all. So it was one of these things where, if anything, I was a little bit hedgy about about accepting it. I was on that thin ice of I've been doing a little too much button mashing. I'm gonna have to throw this thing away, or my streak isn't gonna mean anything. But I gave it a couple of hours of space. It was right before I was gonna go to bed, and it clicked. That phrase clicked enough where I figured I would try the phrase, which is a little bit different than regular old button mashing, in my opinion. Um, and that's the end of it. So I looked it up, and it is basically means like black monster or black beast. So it's that ultimate whatever boogeyman kind of thing. Maybe I should edit those out in the future, but one thing at a time. Anyway, other than that, I thought this was a pretty good, not super difficult puzzle, but there were some interesting things the in the clues in the screenshots. So I'll start with that, and then I'll kind of. I don't know. This is pretty rambly to begin with, so if you don't like that, you may as well fucking bail because I'm a little bit baked, and it's I you know 10 hours since I did it, so that'll be a slightly different experience for everybody. Regardless, let's jump over to the screenshots as a starting point. Okay, so fittingly, the singer Bjork I had as Norwegian, but she's not Norwegian, as we will learn going through this. She is actually from Iceland. Um, this one I got right. Cabinet department with a buffalo on its emblem. It was kind of a guess, but I also kind of feel like it was a layup that it was going to be the interior department because, that's what we used to have in this country in the middle of it, the interior of it. Uh, Quadrennial bonus. I thought this was kind of cute. Leap day because February 29th. And Le Monde. I rambled about this in the actual talk through. I'll do it a little bit here. This is a big beacon highlight of where I feel that this puzzle is not the greatest benchmark for intelligence or any such nonsense. The only reason that I know that Le Monde is a Parisian newspaper is because I used to watch The West Wing. I heard it mentioned in a scene on The West Wing. I'm not super well read, but I'm certainly into English culture. I've never heard it mentioned there. So yeah, there's a lot of that have to temper when I talk about this puzzle because it's still a fucking accomplishment, but because you can't do it doesn't mean anything about your innate abilities. And once again, regardless of what you think those abilities might be, you may very well find some different avenues into it. But yeah, that's we'll stop with that for now, but it's certainly staying in. Like I'm gonna fucking go back and pull little pieces out. Skateboarders wear helmet. This caused me to mess with a couple of things, but I like it. I was actually kind of impressed that that's what it was, because I thought it was going to be shoes or something. And then Sunday best, I got this one pretty early as finery, but the lower left corner over here also gave me more difficulty than the lower right. So it's interesting, like a east-west split on this puzzle. Imams, I wanted to call out here for some prayer leaders, and I wanted to call it out here because, oh, jeez. Now I have to edit this thing. All right. Well, anyway. So yes, imams. I called it out because it's been coming up a lot, and I guess it's good that it's been coming up a lot. But it's been coming up a lot. You'll see it in a couple of different ways. I've seen it both as the clue and the answer in a couple of different puzzles. I haven't done the syndicated in a while because they lost my progress on something. And that's why I hate the fucking web app. So yeah. Anyway, Ink Purveyor. I liked this one when I got it. Epson. They're a printer maker, fairly industrial, and also they actually sell ink in bottles that you refill as opposed to the whole cartridge thing, which I thought was pretty cool. And you can kind of see in the top left, I'll continue to mess around with that top line there with one across as I run through this thing. This one I liked a lot. Lesson for an advanced language learner, idioms. It makes perfect sense, and it's not the first thing that a lot of people are going to think of. So right where it should be, I think, for a Friday. Group of pelicans. This one got me for a while because I haven't actually looked this up yet, but I know it's correct. Apparently, there is an NBA team called the Pelicans. I knew that it was some kind of something like that because it's group of pelicans with a capital P. So the Pelicans are something that is, part of something else. So I figured it was a sports league of some kind. I don't know what else it would have been, but I was still surprised that it was the NBA. And I have ambulance spelled wrong there, and that gets fixed eventually. Affaire de coeur, which is, French for the heart, is amour, which is French for love. And, well, there's a surprise. This one took me a few iterations to get. Imagine that. As opposed to armored cars up there, 21 across, that I didn't even call out because, I don't know, I thought it was much, for me anyway, easier. This one, rear-ended. I think that's what it ends up being. I had something else before this. Yeah, I had blindsided or something. Blindside at first, which didn't work with anything. So yes, I liked rear-ended here, and it fits in pretty well. It also got me thinking about the sea a little bit differently with the Mediterranean. I don't know if I call that out here. Anyway, more than a few, also multiple. That was a good one. I was trying to figure out that you really messed with me for a while because I was having trouble with that, with the across there on 42. But it all started to really gel at this point in the bottom right corner, so the confidence went up in everything that was existing, which is how we started to pull it through. This one, I'm not even sure if it ends up being monoproper. Maybe it ends up being monoplane. Yeah, I think it does end up being monoplane for as opposed to biplane aircraft with low drag. Um, and yes, Bearer of the Earth. This is pretty cool. I'd like to know this myth. In Iroquois creation stories, turtle sounds a little bit like Discworld, so curious. Uh, Place for fast growth, hotbed. This is another one. I thought maybe I should get a little bit sooner, but you'll see that we're coming up to the end of the screenshots, and I'm at 24 fucking minutes. So what we have here. Oh, Nacre I liked also, by the way. Or not liked, but I wanted to call out lustrous shell compound because it comes up from time to time, and I had forgotten it, and I had to get most of the downs before I could figure it out. And then finally, you see I'm starting to clean up down here this lower left corner. I don't know why I didn't take any more screenshots there, but we'll go right back there to look at it, as well as the top right, because that's really where I had some difficulties. Yeah. So I had difficulty here with Mafia. I don't know why, but I was not thinking Mafia for this down Sicilian swagger. It took me a while to get a fire for well lit. I kept thinking it was like shining a light down a well or something. I thought maybe it was like a story about like well literature, like a Poe thing. I don't know. But yeah, that kind of messed me up. And also, gyros with an I always thought it was with a Y. So that really, I didn't like the GI there. I had like a whole bunch of other things that I tried to rationalize before it got through. Similarly, not requiring much attention, minor. This is one that ought to have clicked with me a little bit sooner. And sassy, I don't know about that one. I got well enough in terms of my brain anyway. But then up here on the top, I didn't take a picture of this BB. It's Netanyahu, fucking Zionist anyway. But what I didn't know at all was Elba, the river through Bohemia. I figured it was something like this. It's some Germanic sort of word. But it was like I had no idea what that vowel was, and I had been screwing around enough on here that I didn't want to keep mashing it. Narrated, I got relatively quickly, and it helped. It got rid of Norwegian or whatever the fuck I had for Bjork before, as did on air for live. That was kind of when I decided to get rid of it because I knew that it was on air. And then this one, I kept going back and forth between Red Rock and Bedrock for the standalone features, and similarly, ERs and ORs, it could have been either. That one I wouldn't have cared at all if I just flopped that at any point and got it right, because that's a coin toss in my opinion. Is there anything else that I didn't? Oh, box braids was another one that I have known but didn't really know for hairstyle. Not sure if we'll see this one again, but we might. And what was armored cars that I? Oh yes, valuable carriers. That one didn't do very much for me personally. And semi-pros I liked, though. Paid athletes with day jobs. This one I probably could have gotten a little bit sooner. But c'est la vie. I think that's it for this one. I think I'm gonna just let you guys see that text message rather than spend however long fucking acting like I'm gonna cut this together well and have it all screw up somewhere else. Whatever. If you like me, if you like listening to this shit, you'll deal with it. Or you won't, and you'll come back next time, or you won't. And that's really just life. So anyway, I'm not trying to be fatalistic. I'm not trying to be guilt trippy. None of that fucking bullshit. That's just life. And now there's been even more rambling nonsense over here. So I'm going to thank you if you're still listening. And regardless of when you started or stopped, I wish you a peaceful journey.